Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here too.
So let us just introduce ourselves. I'm Mira, and
I'm Elle.
This is
um,
me. Hi, I'm Janet.
um, like, are you excited to be here for this
Yeah.
interview? We've never had an interview, done an interview for a podcast before. It's usually just single.
Yeah. So please excuse any of our little stammers or our nervous questions. I'm sure there'll be many.
No, go for it. I'm really excited to be here. I saw your email and I told all my colleagues how I'm excited for it.
That's awesome. We love to hear that.
Okay, so I'm gonna dive into it.
Mhm.
Okay, so hey everyone, it's Mira, and welcome back to Of the Caged Voices.
Hi, it's Elle. I'm back, and today's episode is a really exciting one. We're going to talk about science, animals, and the future of drug testing.
So this isn't a regular episode, it's a bonus featuring our special guest, Janet Kwon. Janet, thank you so much for coming on. We're so excited to have you here. Um, and to start us off, could you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself? Like, what do you do as a biomedical engineer at UC Davis?
Oh, sure. So I'm currently a PhD candidate at UC Davis. I'm expected to graduate hopefully this upcoming year. The work, my project is about organ on a chip. It's aimed to mimic disease mechanisms using human cells, and eventually it has the potential to, it's, I see it as being the future of disease studies because you're using these human cells to study diseases and test drugs instead of animals. So it's a lot more applicable in terms of results. Um, yeah, so after my master's, where I had to do a little bit of mice experiments, I was really determined to go for a project like this. And I'm very happy with my project right now.
Growing up, we were always taught that, animal testing was a normal part of science and a very necessary part of the science. Was it kind of like you in the lab with the mice? Was that like the moment that kind of made you want to find an alternative, or was there like a different moment?
Yeah, so I actually what I did was relatively a simple procedure, but even then it was very heartbreaking for me. And yeah, like I just didn't want to keep doing that. Like I understood that some studies kind of require animal experiments, but like many of the times I felt like it could be substituted with other alternative methods. And honestly, it's research is going in that direction right now. The FDA in 2023, they no longer required results from animal testing for, you know, foods like genetically modified foods or any type of food research to require animal testing results to get to our table. And it's it's definitely going in that direction. Like the NIH also released an initiative promoting this area of research, and honestly it's something that the industry is more interested in than academia at the moment, but with time I think it's going to keep moving in that direction.
That's good. So you think, in maybe a few years it'll go in that direction?
Probably not a few years. It's gonna take a while.
A long time,
It's
unfortunately.
Cause yeah, like it's interesting. The results are coming in. Um, yeah, and I just hated calling those my sacrifice when I've, why am I sacrificing this? Like, where is this? What, like, I'm not testing drugs. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
So
Like would you say that when you test on animals you find less similarities to help humans? Like, wouldn't you say that it's if you were to test on human cells, you would get better results than when you would test on animals? Like, I don't know, I read somewhere that 90% of the drugs tested on animals rarely ever help in the human era.
yeah, so what we define by like better results, um, if we mean like more applicable to humans, then yes, because a lot of the drug candidates that pharmaceutical companies go through, a lot of them end up in failure. And we have you heard of like you're not paying for the successful drugs, you're paying for the failures? Have you heard of something like that?
I think I read something on that. I think it like a year ago, maybe.
Yeah, so like the success rate to like pass clinical trials, get results through animal testing, all of that is like less than 1%. And these research, it's really expensive. Like animal research is also, animal testing is very expensive as well. So if human cell alternatives like organ on a chip or organoids, if they continue in this direction, experts are predicting that it can reduce research costs to like 30 to 70% depend. Oh, my my cat is
Is it a girl or a boy cat?
that one's a boy.
Oh, it's so
Um,
cute.
yeah, that one jumped into my partner's car, and he just like
He's
it was
just like,
supposed.
I'm coming home with you.
Yeah, it was a foster fail. Yeah, we'll we'll see what happens with that one. But going back to what we were saying, um, oh, where were we? Yeah,
Um,
like I'm I'm really optimistic that's going to go in the, financially and ethically more sound research.
well, that's nice to know because I used to think that animal testing was more expensive. I had no idea that it was I used to think animal testing was less expensive. I had no idea it was more expensive.
No, because you're talking about mice that are like genetically analyzed. So like each mouse is gonna be like at least $100 for a normal mouse, and if
Mhm.
you like genetically design it to have like cancer, to study cancer or whatever disease, they're gonna become more and more expensive. And then there's like real estate costs because they have cages and you stack them, so you kind of need physical room to keep them. You need like food, water, personnel to like maintain them, on top of the researchers who do the actual like surgeries. Um, which yeah, that's like a whole that's a whole new story. But it's just like it's very costly. And I know that the 30 to 70% range in reducing drug costs, that's like a big range. So like even if the drug costs go down by like 30%, maybe like 50%, it's like it's a lot,
Mhm.
And the direction that I really wanted to go is personalized health. Have you heard of personalized health?
I
Nope.
don't think so.
So, okay, so I used to work at the National Cancer Center in Korea, and I was working at a startup affiliated to that center that studied anti-cancer drugs. And there was a patient who was in the later stages of cancer. It wasn't moving yet, but it was pretty like the drugs weren't working and the outlook was not looking that great. So what the researchers did at the company was they got a part of the cancer and they tested like 90 different drugs. And the problem with like cancer treatment is that the cancer cells, they mutate so fast that like even if one drug worked before, all of a sudden it just stops working anymore because it's mutating so fast. And the time it takes to like try out like so many different drugs, it's a lot of time that's wasted, a lot of emotional turmoil that the patient and the caretakers go through. So if you have a system where you get a part of that cancer, you try out 9 different cancer drugs, and you find that one that works really well. So it's kind of like personalizing the cancer treatment by taking a part of that cancer.
So it's
So
what works best for the patient.
yeah, instead of going through that whole like guinea pig phase where you try out like 5, 10 different drugs, and it's not just for cancer, we're talking about like any type of disease. That's what personalized health is. And what I really hope that these organoid and organ chip research go towards is you get a part of you get some patient cells, you grow it, and then you test out different drugs, and then you end up saving a lot of money throughout the treatment because you're not wasting it on those ones that don't work, the time you save. And yeah, that's
I mean, it sounds more cost efficient. It sounds better for the patient. It sounds better for everybody involved.
Yeah.
yeah. So
How customizable is the chip? I mean, it could simulate the rare conditions you're saying. Like you could actually take a specific person's, a specific cancer cell or something from a person or part of a tumor and literally like customize it to a person for different medications.
so that will kind of depend on how the disease works. For instance, more specifically, I work with atherosclerosis, and the reason Oriana chip is it works really well with like those blood flow type of diseases because like cells, they're normally grown on a petri dish, but a blood vessel, if you think about any type of like blood related diseases, the blood is moving and you're kind of neglecting a, like the physical component, that blood flow physical component to disease studies. So it's just, oh yeah, this is like a whole, oh, that's a very, okay, this one's gonna be a little bit longer,
That's
but
fine.
like atherosclerosis, it has a very high fatality rate in women in particular. And that's because early detection for women is the early symptoms often get neglected because like in men, atherosclerosis and like heart disease, it kind of shows up as that pain in the chest, whereas in women, it's like headaches or like it's just a different type of symptoms that often get neglected, and that's why like atherosclerosis, by the time doctors actually do the testing, it's advanced so much that the fatality rate is it ends up being really high. So if you have like some sort of a testing kit like the COVID tests that can detect early symptoms, like not early symptoms, but like kind of quantify and like figure out if that person has atherosclerosis based on someone coming into the office and saying, I have a headache. Like that's going to help a lot of patients. And the thing about atherosclerosis, it has a lot of complications like diabetes, stroke. Do you guys know what atherosclerosis is?
No.
Oh, okay. No worries. So it's inflammation in the blood vessel. So if that inflammation, if it gets chipped off and then it goes to your heart, or if it goes to your head, you're getting like heart failure or a stroke because the blood vessel in the brain or the heart or anywhere it's getting blocked.
I'm curious, do you know why the symptoms are different in men as it is to like females?
Um, I don't think we know that yet.
Okay.
Or yeah, because if we knew, I think it would have made treatment a lot
A lot
easier.
better.
Detection, treatment a lot easier. But unfortunately, that's not the case. And yeah, so it started out as wanting to reduce animal testing because it's just horrible. Because I don't want like mice to be born to have cancer. And then the more I
I don't
studied
think
it,
anybody wants that.
yeah, and the more I studied it, it's just like there's just so many potential applications that is, yeah, like what people are doing with this technology, it's pretty amazing.
Like your organ on a chip one, your organ on a chip like thing that you're working on, like how exactly does it work?
Oh, so remember how I said like you're thinking about blood flow instead of
Mm-hmm.
like growing a cell on a petri dish? That's 2D because humans are 3D, we're not like on a flat surface.
Mm-hmm.
So how would I explain it? So oftentimes a chip is something that you attach to a cell slide, and then it creates like tiny tunnels, and then you flow through media or like cell food basically that's mimicking like blood flow. You make like little tunnels using that attachment on top. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So um yeah, so you're flowing through like it's almost like me. Okay, maybe this is a little better. So if you have a straw, you cut it in half and then you attach it to a cell slide, and then you start blowing through. Oh, cell media is cell food and it's like a solution. If you flow through cell media, that's almost like mimicking a blood vessel.
Okay.
So just having that like water, blood, or like cell media flows through, it activates a whole different pathway. Because if you're studying like blood vessel cells and how they react to certain chemicals on just a 2D cell plate, like for instance, like if the blood flow is strong, like if the water is going through some cells, it's exposed to this like stress that's
Okay.
moving from the fluids moving. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And that
I think
stress,
so, yeah.
yeah, that stress, if it's high, the blood vessel cells are more likely to work as blood vessel cells, which means they're going to maintain that tube shape. But when blood flow is blocked, and that's physical stress is called shear stress. If shear stress is low, oftentimes these blood vessel cells, they lose their characteristics. They have an inflammatory response, and they no longer really behave like blood vessel cells. So that's why if you look at images of blood of atherosclerosis, instead of it looking like a straight tube, you have like a little like lump because of the inflammation, and the blood vessels, they're not linking arms with other blood vessel cells so that it can have that structure. So yeah, that's kind of how it works. Does it make sense? Like the
Yeah.
first couple
Yeah,
of
I
times I
think so,
like
yeah. It
when
essentially, it like
when
helps
I
to relieve that inflammation.
huh?
Wait, did you hear me? Did I cut out? Sorry, no, I said like it sort of it helps almost like get rid of the inflammation, almost like flush it out almost. If that's did I understand that correctly?
Oh, no. So I'm studying atherosclerosis, so I'm trying to cause
You're
inflammation.
trying to cause that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So you're trying to cause the inflammation to like essentially like find a way to fix the inflammation and get rid of it.
Yeah, so I'm trying to like study how well well yeah, so I give it these like inflammatory chemicals to the endothelials, to the blood vessel cells, and I try to observe how the cells react to it.
Okay.
So so the blood vessel cells, eventually they're not working as blood vessel cells, and from that process we can better understand how the disease works, and it leads to potential target genes to treat the disease.
So it's like a model for like,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
So like then like you wouldn't have to use like a rat as a model. You would use the
Yeah.
organ on a chip as a model. Oh, that's nice. That's really like that's like an exciting technology. Have
Yes,
you
because
like
like no.
have you like tried it before? Like
Oh yeah. It's working, and the way it works is like you order cells online, and they're cells from someone who I'd who there's cells from a person. So instead of like purchasing it from a website, if you can get those cells from patients instead, we're talking about something that can be used as a diagnostic device, or figuring out like what drug works on them. It's just, it is a little complicated to make it work. And that's why that success rate was like 30 to 70%. It depends on your success rate.
but like good things take time. So
Yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, it's going in that direction. I know there was a research group at Columbia who, so since I'm studying atherosclerosis, my chip is called artery on a chip. they were doing like kidneys, liver, like nervous system, and they would link it. So that's like almost like modeling a human, all the vital organs of a human. So if you use that to test drugs, you're basically getting like results from humans instead of animals. And of course I like Oriana chip. I going into it, I knew it doesn't work well. It takes a lot of patience. Um, it's pretty notorious for being tricky to get it work because like those tunnels that I mentioned to model, they're tiny. So if you get the slightest bubble in it, you kind of like that's just not gonna work. And sometimes bubbles do get in, but yeah, it's
So even like, so despite the setup cost and like the time cost, it's still cheaper than animal testing.
yeah,
So are like the pharmaceutical companies, are they excited about this technology, or is it
yeah,
currently facing resistance? So it's widely accepted. So
yeah.
they're ready for this change to start coming, even if it may be slowly. They're ready for it. Okay.
Yeah, like they're already implementing it because like, with the FDA initiative from 2023, they announced more this year with the NIH. So pharmaceutical companies and like industry is very interested in it, whereas in academia and at university, that's not as the research isn't as promoted, to be honest, as industry, because from like pharmaceutical companies perspective, there's like no reason for them not to be interested in this.
Mm-hmm.
It's you know it's cheaper. it's it saves them a lot of money.
It's like
Less,
it's more cheaper, ethical, accurate. Would you
more
say?
goal accurate, less drug candidates that have to go through clinical trials, just like as
Mhm.
a something to weed out any like bad ones. Just having that done saves them so much money. Those clinical trials you're talking about, like a bunch of people that you have to pay, and like the people who go through those clinical trials, it's also a lot of emotional turmoil because if you're placed in, you've heard of placebo, right?
Yeah.
So like
Yes.
if you're given a placebo drug in hopes of getting your disease managed or treated, it's heartbreaking when it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
You go into it with a lot of hope, and this is also like a whole field where you study like how patients are treated, how doctors and nurses go through all of this. But yeah, like it has it can impact a lot of people and animals. And I talk about this with my professor a lot, that I really hope it goes in that personalized health area. And like it's hard to make it work, but I really hope that we can make it easier, almost like a COVID kit.
Mm-hmm.
And people can use it a bit more.
That's nice. So like, do you think that there's still a lot of like misinformation around these types of like alternatives where like people think that let's just do animal testing and get it over with? Or like, do you think people know their information very well?
What do you mean by people? Like,
Like in the science area, like people like researchers or like people who do the testing and stuff like that, like do you think that they still like they're stuck in their old ways almost, that they think that animal testing is the best and only way to do it? Like do you think people still have that type of mindset?
it's it's with any type of change. People like to adhere to old methods. Change is hard to implement. Um, I wouldn't say that's the case in pharmaceutical companies and industry, but in other areas, animal testing, it's easier to get the results. You need a lot of, and this is also like my personal belief on this. I feel like a lot of times the researchers, they don't really go through enough training. There's no set training to do the animal testing. Whereas if you look at vets, they go through like 4 years of studying the animal, how to humanely do surgery, how to increase the success rate of these surgeries. Whereas the scientists, they kind of just learn from each other. And like, I just don't agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you call it animal testing, you call it animal experiment, but it's a whole surgery. It's, you get them anesthetized, and it's just, I just don't like how it's done. So
Do
Like,
you think that there's any like major misconceptions that scientists and people and researchers still working with animal testings have about animal-free testing? Do you think they form misconceptions about your ideas and other people's ideas?
I mean, I'm sure some people do. I haven't met any yet. Oh, oh,
Did it shut off for a minute?
is this not, am I still here?
I can still hear
Yeah,
you, just
we
your
can still
video
hear
don't.
you.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
okay.
Yeah,
it
you're
works now.
back. There you go.
Yeah, I'm sure there are people who are against it, who don't really believe in it. But it's fine.
Do you think that animal testing should ever fully disappear? Do you think it should be reduced or completely just gotten rid of?
Um, well, as of now, realistically, I don't think it can be completely eliminated. With time, as these types of technology develop. I hope it does. I really hope it does. uh yeah, because you start out with mice, but people do it on cats and dogs and primates, and it's just, yeah.
It's sad. It doesn't feel right. I mean, at least it doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah, yeah. I don't like it. It's sometimes necessary depending on the type of study you're doing. But, as the NIH and FDA continue to promote these studies, like the organ on a chip or organoids, I think slowly one day,
We'll
We'll all
get
be
there.
on.
yeah,
Hopefully one day we will get there.
yeah.
So, if there was one message that you would want to go viral, what would it be?
um, hmm, one message to go viral. Um, so okay. I actually really like Lady Gaga. And like, it used to be like just her songs, and then I went to her concert recently in SF, and I started looking at her interviews, and she was like, don't listen to people who say you're not gonna make it.
I love that. That's such a good
and
message.
and like, people think you have to be super smart to do these things, but honestly, it's just, You just kind of do it day by day.
Like you just need the passion and the dedication to do it.
Yeah, like I really don't think it's like a talent or an intelligence thing, but more like working through anxiety and um at times, have you heard of learned helplessness?
Yeah. Isn't that like a psychology term?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So like I feel like it's more like working through anxiety and learned helplessness,
Mm-hmm.
and people will say a lot of things, but it's okay. When things work out, they're like, "Oh, I knew you could do it," and you're like,
Hmm.
um, yeah. So you just keep going. Sometimes you sometimes cry, but you keep going.
Gotta keep going no matter what. And one last question, as high school students, what can we do to support this kind of research to help push for these changes?
Um, Honestly, so many of my colleagues they were like, I wish I had the opportunity to do podcasts. So just like literally showing interest like that, or like just, you know, emailing like you guys did, asking if you can maybe participate in research. Not all professors will respond. That's just a given.
Mm-hmm.
But just like asking if you can be a part of the research, if you can experience it, if they are willing to do an interview, like things like that. It keeps people going.
Like, if you wanted to if you wanted to share this in our animal rights club that I have at my school, what would be like a way to advocate for it, like to get people involved to support changes or like just to like make them feel included in it?
Um, hmm. Oh, honestly, you just I feel like anything helps, honestly. Like, um, I used to volunteer at the animal shelter. Just like anything, literally, to like any action instead of just wondering what you could, instead of just like staying in your room. I feel like just doing any kind of action helps. Yeah, because who else will advocate for the little ones?
If it's not us, who
So,
will?
Yeah, so I feel like if you're talking to your animal rights club at a high school, I would really suggest doing a lot of self exploration, trying to figure out what you really enjoy doing, because the skills will eventually get there. But if you enjoy something, like it comes a lot easier.
mhm.
So try to combine your passion with what you like to do, like, like skills. Kind of combine your passion with your skills and, you know, take it day by day.
And then you get there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on here and being here. I feel like I learned so much. I feel like Mira can agree as well. I mean, I feel like we both learned a lot.
Yeah.
I think I have a lot of new terms and new articles that I want to look up and I want to research. Thank you so much.
No, of course. Thanks for inviting me.